Hello and welcome to another edition of Video Games to the Max. I am your host, Sean Garmer, and here with me, as usual, Mr. Mark Morrison.
Howdy.
And well, there is a lot to talk about today, as once again, Tuesday proves to be a crazy news day that's been like that for a while, where Microsoft themselves leaked a lot of future information. Phil Spencer says that apparently that's old, but they're always going to say that. So we'll figure out eventually if a lot of that's old or not whenever they actually announce it. Sony State of Play and Nintendo Direct stuff as well in here. And quite a lot more. We'll talk about all of that right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
And well, let's go ahead and get the housekeeping stuff out of the way here. If this is your first time listening or 100th time listening, we do appreciate you either way. Thank you so much for either watching live right now. It's usually Wednesdays around 12:30ish in the afternoon. And if not, you can always catch it on demand as soon as it hits the on demand on YouTube, which is the earliest place it gets there. Like basically right after we do the show, it's already there. You can there'll be timestamps in the description pretty soon after that, so you can find what you want to watch or listen to at your convenience. And if you subscribe to the YouTube channel W2M Network, you can get not only what we do with Video Games to the Max, you get the Radler Broadcasting folks, which they cover every right now there's not a deluge of big movies like there was in the summer, but when there is a big movie, they review it pretty much the week of or the week after. And TV shows, they pretty much keep up with that as well. And they're big fans of metal music, so check out those Metal Hammer Dooms or all of that as well. And then Talk to Keiki, which I think they might be taking a few weeks off because one of the co-hosts going somewhere, but they keep up with the anime is released weekly. So if you like watching the new anime, they keep up with that as well. And if you like to still listen with your ears, which I know a lot of us do on podcast form, you can go find each one of those shows individually. Just search for them and subscribe there, and then listen on whatever podcast thing you like, whether it's iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, all of those. We're on pretty much anything. Just find us and subscribe there. And, hopefully you are enjoying the episodes. And let's go ahead and get going with this one. We don't really have anything major that we've been playing that we haven't talked about in the last 2 weeks. So I think we should probably start with the news on this one. Oh, go ahead.
No, the one thing I'll mention, I tried that Star Ocean Second Story R demo.
Yeah, I downloaded that. I haven't played it
yet. The setting or the world looks fine, but the characters look like ass because they're all it's looks like Octopath or
what's wrong with that? Octopath looks great. What are you trying to say?
Yeah, but not when the world looks like higher res. Then it just looks very discordant. It's not like everything looks blocky. It's just the characters.
But you think it's more because of it's an action RPG, right?
No,
it's
no, it is. Okay. I mean, technically, I guess it is, but it's still it's not like what you would think. Not like traditional action RPG nowadays. Let's say,
right.
But the funniest thing to me was you were transported. Like I played the guy character, and you're transported from Earth to another planet. And you meet this girl, and you go like, "I'm from Earth," and she's like, "What's that?" Or she's like, she has no clue. Yeah. And then I went to this town, and I talked to some people, and this father or this priest guy was talking. He's like, "Oh, earthquakes are coming down to us," and I'm like, "Why are they called earthquakes?" Like, if you don't know what Earth is, why would they ever be called earthquakes? Why not make up some stupid other name or whatever the hell this planet's name is?
Yeah.
That was my
makes sense.
Yeah, that was my minor like what is this moment? But game seems fine, and it's only a 3-hour demo too, which kind of annoyed me.
I mean, Did you expect them to give you like a long ass? I mean, they also
No,
got to give you the game.
it would just be nice though if they said like this is the end of the demo, not you're time limited in this demo. Because there's a lot of
So
talking.
it feels more like it's like timed, not.
Yeah, it literally is like after 3 hours you can't play anymore.
Okay. Yeah, see, I
Yeah.
can understand what you're saying. Like, just watching the trailer here for people that are not, that are listening on audio, it's a
Yeah.
little bit different because it feels like they putting 2D characters on a 3D plane,
Yeah.
whereas Octopath is not that, right?
Right.
They're still 2D on 2D,
Yeah.
so it looks a little bit discombobulating
Yeah,
to see the
that's what I'm.
characters like that.
Yeah, like I
Yeah,
was wondering if there's some like weird setting where it's like, oh, I can, high res the characters, or it's just that's just not available or something like that. But no, I think that's
yeah.
just what they did, and it's like this looks weird because the game world looks super nice and his characters look like ass.
Yeah. It kind of looks like they're like cardboard cutouts on a 3D world a little bit, right? Yeah. I
But
can see what you're saying.
yep, but yeah, let's launch into the news, I guess.
Yeah, the only thing that I can mention that I've already talked about Sea of Stars enough. But I played. I haven't gotten exactly to where I was in the beta period, but I did play Ever Crisis again. Now that it's out and the draw is a little bit different, they aren't just giving stuff away to you like they were in the beta so that you could experience like the full extent of it. But they do give you enough stuff. And especially if you did play during the beta period, you're going to get a lot of gifts and things that they give you to where you can pretty much, like, I've been able to enhance. Everybody has a 5-star weapon at this point, and it has them to at least like level 20. So right now it's kind of been very nice to get through the story of Final Fantasy VII up to a certain point. It does, I think I mentioned this during the beta, but it does make you play through the other stories. You cannot just so unfortunately, if you recently, like me, just played Crisis Core when it came out or like right after it came out, you're gonna see a lot of the same stuff again, just with the blocky PS1, nicer looking PS1 characters.
Yep.
So that's the only thing, is it does make you play through Crisis Core, and it does make you play through the first soldier thing before you can continue on with, like, let's say you only want to play Final Fantasy VII, you have to play through everything else to keep going with Final Fantasy VII. It stops you at the Reno fight, or I think his name's Reno. I can't ever.
Yeah.
I get both of their names confused. The guy with the red hair. It stops you at the fight with the church, in the church with him, and it makes you go through all of Crisis Core so that you can unlock, not all of Crisis Core, but it's like to a certain part of Crisis Core. Then it unlocks the first soldier thing. Then you have to play through a bunch of first soldier before you can get again to Final Fantasy VII. So it looks like it's going to be like that. It's going to try to get you, I guess, to do it in like chronological order of what you would be in chronological order of the story. So I guess it's a different way to play, like they say on the trailer. And if you haven't seen the trailer for First Soldier, now that it's not the not the battle royale thing, it is about the story of Sephiroth, like how he becomes through Soldier to the person you see in Crisis Core. So there is like a little bit of a reason to play that, if you want to know more about Sephiroth, I guess.
I just pre-ordered the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth Deluxe Edition, so I'm happy about that.
Oh, you did? Okay,
Yeah.
you did. We talked about that off air. So yeah, we're going to get into the state of play and direct stuff in a little bit, just because that stuff kind of happened like right after the day after we did the last episode. So I know you guys have probably already heard everybody or watched everybody's reactions. And it sucks because I had a lot of reactions at the time when it happened. It's a little bit different when you're doing this like almost a week later, but there's some more, I guess you could say, pressing things to get to here. And one of them, again, as I mentioned, the first thing I talked about was the unfortunate, which is always unfortunate for these companies, huge leak from Microsoft that is internal documents that they had basically given to the FTC somebody decided to upload them to the court website, and then the court, because they're there, uploaded them to the website for public consumption. So for a while, I think like for at least an hour or two, it was there. And of course, once it's there, it's never really gone because the internet grabs a hold of it. People start taking screenshots, and of course, all the game journalists and game websites get a hold of it and start parsing it. And yeah, there's a lot in here. I'm not going to go through every single detail. We're just going to kind of hit the highlights here because there's a lot. But basically, we thought that maybe Microsoft is not going to do this, and turns out they are. They are going to have mid-gen console refreshes. So there is going to be a whatever it's going to be called, Series X.
I mean,
yeah.
At least these things aren't like more powerful. That's the one benefit I would say is they're not like.
So it's like the PS5 Slim. It looks like.
Yeah,
but the PS5. It does look like there's gonna be a PS5 Pro. At least. So.
The Series S looks fine. The Series X looks like a trash can.
I don't know who.
It looks like that trash can Mac that Apple made a few years ago that sucked.
It literally looks like any of those. Seriously, it looks like any of those trash cans. The ones that have like the cylinder where you push it up with your foot.
It's all digital, which is interesting.
Yes. I don't think the thing is now, right? They either have to do one or two things. They have to either still produce the old Series X, or they have to provide the detachable disk drive, which I have seen some folks say that it really wouldn't be that big of a deal for them to provide a detachable disk drive.
I see that as a major deal actually, because there's no real place to put it on the console or easily attach it, and then also that would open up.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't go on the console; it'd be a USB external, right?
Yeah, but people like that. The proposed PS5 Slim thing has a detachable drive, but it kind of slots into the console or like underneath it.
Now, to be fair, again, he did say that all of these documents are old, like at least 2 years old. So,
but the other thing I would say is if you have a detachable disk drive, that opens the way to piracy.
Yep, that too. But I mean, PS5's doing it, right? So obviously they don't.
Yeah, but that's I think that's less of a like USB standard, or I mean, it may just have some special, like the PS5 may just have some special port on the bottom that this is for the disk drive, not just hey USB, and go from there.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, right? They could make their own proprietary plug that no other thing uses except for that. Like you're saying,
they should
again, like they may have decided to do something similar to the PS5, or they may not do it at all and just say, okay, we're just going to keep producing the original Series X.
Yeah.
If you want a disk drive, and if you don't want one, then there's this option, right? It doesn't look like it's any cheaper though, which is
it's both at the same prices.
Yeah, so that's what's weird is that the digital only one for the PS5 is $100 cheaper. So, like, why is this not cheaper if it doesn't have a disk drive? That's interesting. Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, it's weird that other than the change of the design, it doesn't really. Oh, and it does include. Oh, that's why. Never mind. That's why. There's 2 terabytes of storage in this thing. So
yeah, but like they're still acting like storage is like this costly thing, and it's like no.
Well, but come on, man. Like that's why they have different SKUs of things.
I would rather have a disk drive than an extra terabyte of storage. Let's say.
Wait. So, well, my question is, why is this? It's okay for them to charge for storage, but the Steam Deck charges for storage, and that's why they have the 3 different SKUs.
Because if you actually want to get into it, you can mod the Steam Deck to have more storage, and you can't do that with an Xbox.
So by removing what?
like you can remove the cover and you can get into the Steam Deck and it's just an M.2 slot. I doubt this is still the same M.2 slot. Or I mean, and even if it is, like the Xbox doesn't allow for like screwball
Right, yeah,
storage
you
options.
can't just put in whatever you want. You have to do an
Right.
external. Or...
I mean, if you could like that, like the PS5, that'd be a different story. But you can't. So
I just wanted to get why, but I feel like at 2 terabytes, you also don't really need, unless you want to have every freaking game on planet Earth installed in your drive that you're never gonna play. Like, yeah, I at 2 terabytes, that's a lot.
I mean, I would say not that much because it's not a full 2 terabytes. It's like 1.6 terabytes
I'm
rather,
sure.
And some of these games are approaching the 150 gigabyte limit. So it's like, holy Christ.
Right. The Series S is also apparently going to release 2 months before the Series X refresh. So that it has its own moment. Again, we don't know what their plans are going to be now because number one, this got leaked, so maybe something changes, and then number two, he's saying that this is at least 2 years old,
right?
If not more. When he made a comment on Twitter about how he sees that people are talking about it, he's upset because a lot of this stuff has changed. We don't even know. Maybe they did include a disk drive.
My response would be, all right, Phil, what are your plans right now? Let's crack open your email account. Let's see what's going on.
Yes, there's a new controller.
Well, it's just like a slight redesign, or I mean, it looks like the same controller, but it just looks like it has a bad paint job and better battery life.
Well, I like the fact that it has quiet buttons and thumbsticks because that's so annoying to me.
Yeah.
That the Xbox One controllers were quiet. And then I love the feel of the Xbox Series S controller, but I hate the clicky fucking D-pad and it's not something that I'm sitting there and everybody has to hear you go it's annoying, right? And then I pick up the Xbox One controller, one of the Xbox Bluetooth controllers that I used when I do remote play or play on my phone, and it's quiet, and I don't feel like everybody has to hear me know what I'm doing,
Well, also this thing will have apparently modular thumbsticks, so that'll be good for when the thumbstick never really has drift. You can just easily replace it.
Yes, that's good too. There's supposed to be better haptic feedback,
and they're adding a gyroscope, the DualShock and stuff like that.
Yes, yes. So it feels like they took stuff from the Steam Deck, from the PS5, and then kind of try to put it in this controller. Which there's a direct-to-cloud connection. Which okay.
Well, that's like Stadia, or that like the whole.
Yeah. I guess if you want to, for me, right, that if you're using it as your remote play controller, you just press the button and you're automatically playing Game Pass on there. Which okay, that's cool. And it's gonna be well, no, they all the controllers have been 70 now, so that's not any different.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think that this is as clear as they make it seem, because I've reread this and it seems more like Phil Spencer's kind of just pie in the sky talking about Nintendo.
No, he's high on those mushrooms.
Yes, exactly. He's more talking about, well, if you could buy someone, obviously Nintendo would be the best thing to buy. Right. And right after that would be Valve. He knows no way Nintendo would sell to him, and no way would Valve sell to him. They have no reason to. They're making money hand over a million fists. They don't need to give money, sell to anyone.
They would have, honestly, they would have an easier time buying Sony than Nintendo.
Yeah, and also I think Nintendo could just turn around, and either Nintendo or Valve could turn around and try to convince the Microsoft higher ups, why don't we just buy Xbox from you?
Right.
Than the other way. So you have a lot more things going on, Microsoft. Why don't we just buy Xbox from you, take all your IP, and then
I mean, you say that, but they kind of don't anymore, or not as much. It's not like their phone, products suck, or that they keep starting and stopping that. They don't have the Zune, or they don't, they don't
Yeah,
really.
but their
I do,
cloud stuff makes them a lot of money around the world.
I do actually kind of
You
agree
know.
with Phil that said like we don't really have retail or consumer, presence. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, people run Windows in the office, but
But now you don't need to buy Office at the store. You don't need to buy Windows at the store. Windows is free now.
right,
And then Office, you can just they want you to do it in the cloud. So Office, they want you to pay the subscription.
yeah,
And that's how you get it now,
right,
honestly, as far as software goes, like this is why a lot of times these Office places, like almost every Office Depot is closed by me.
yeah,
Or in my area. Like there is no Office anything's open
bummer.
anymore. Which, I mean, they were a great place and a much cheaper place than UPS to go print something out.
Yeah,
So now it's like almost you might as well buy your own printer because you're going to pay like $5 to print out one thing at UPS.
yeah. I
Because
mean,
they
why?
charge you like $3 just to use their freaking computer, even if you don't use the computer.
Go buy a Brother printer, and you'll never have to buy another cartridge again.
I'll have to look into that, honestly. But
Yeah,
but that's if I printed out more things. It's just like the one time that I need to print something out where they
yeah.
don't let you just email it to them. It sucks. Like,
That's the thing. I use my printer like twice a year, if that. But it's always
yeah.
nice to have.
What is that thing not use ink or something? Or how does
No, it's
that
a
work?
laser printer, so it doesn't. It's
Oh,
not
it's a
like
laser.
some
Okay.
HP DeskJet that you print 4 pages and it's out of ink. It's like, no, fuck that. It does. I mean, it does have a cartridge, but my cartridge has been in there for 6 years and still is fine.
Yeah.
But enough
There's
printer talk.
exactly, yeah, things people don't really use anymore unless you're in an office. So Microsoft is also going to be no doubt that they're obviously making a next gen console, but in 2028, which is also I think what Sony has mentioned, possibly there being another console, is that they will make it a hybrid platform that will fully utilize the cloud. We will enable new levels of performance beyond the capabilities of the client hardware alone. So they are dedicated to this cloud thing, it seems, or at least at the time. Now, we don't know if 2 years on and maybe not a lot has changed with cloud that
Hey,
they,
it worked for Crackdown 3.
Would it be interesting also how that works now with like they don't have rights to the cloud stuff with ABK. So would that affect them really doing this with the console? But I mean, I feel like it's almost like the Connect with the Xbox One. If they really are that far into it, is this a switch that they can turn off, or is this something that they can't really do anything about it now? They kind of have to just go with it.
I mean, I think it's a terrible idea.
You don't think that in 6 years or 5 years we'll be any better with internet around the world than we are now?
I mean, I didn't see it as that. I saw it as like, oh, developers can use the cloud to have new modes or have
Right,
better.
do updates faster, produce
Well,
updates faster.
not even that. Like with the cloud, I saw it as like almost like Perfect Dark with the expansion pack. Like you can play Perfect Dark technically without the expansion pack, but you have like just the arena fighting. Like you need the expansion pack to like run the story mode essentially. And I saw the cloud as basically akin to the expansion pack. So it's like, okay, what happens when the cloud goes down? Then the game is fucked. Or then it's like, okay, I have this game that 80% of it I can't actually play at the moment because I'm waiting for the internet to come back up, or I'm waiting for game services to keep going, or to resume.
Right.
And
Yeah, that's something that they really do have to look into. And just to make a note that I didn't realize Scott had been commenting here. I was having to look at a different screen to look at what we're talking about. He does say that he hopes the documents are false, that because it says that they're going to stop producing the Series X altogether, once that new console releases, which means that if they don't have some kind of detachable drive, the only Series X that would be around would be the one without any kind of physical media. So yeah, that would suck if that's the truth. But I feel like even though we have progressed with more and more digital, I feel like they know. And yes, I know Xbox is like a big proponent of that because even their physical releases now are like nothing's in the box. But I would hope that they're still looking at it, that there is still a large community, especially in gaming, that want physical media. So
also, I think like if
yeah.
they actually did go with this plan of them saying like screw physical media, we're just going to release these 2 digital consoles, like Walmart and GameStop, especially GameStop, would say, okay, we're not going to sell your console anymore.
Yeah, like I wonder how that works with Walmart because like obviously Walmart has also gotten smaller and smaller with their area of gaming, right?
Right.
The only reason it's big is because there's 3 console makers and they have to have space for all 3 of them. And they also have that deal with Nintendo where you get $10 off a game if you buy it there. But they make more money just like almost everybody else, even the game companies themselves, off the accessories and things like that. So would they welcome it because they get to have more store space, or would they see it as like a backlash? But I feel like even the retailers know, right? Like you go into Best Buy now, there's like hardly anything physical in there.
Right.
That's an album or
Best Buy has this like new store experience thing that they're trying. It's like a test store, and they're remodeling one of the Best Buys near me to have that. And they have 3 small aisles for games, and that's it. No movies and no music. That's it.
And that's kind of where it's going. Gaming is really the last bastion of we're really trying to have physical media.
Meanwhile, they had like 40 different types of e-bikes and crap like that. And I'm like,
and TVs everywhere. And
I'm gonna come to this Best Buy, I guess.
Yeah, but I would think that most of the Best Buys are gonna go that route as well.
I hope not. I mean, or else, I won't shop there.
Unfortunately, that's why GameStop is having to sell you a million different pop figures or other kinds of things that are not games because people are just buying digital off the same console that they already have.
I think with that it's a little more nuanced because they started introducing that stuff, and then you felt like you're getting a hassle to buy it when you go in there. So it's like I don't need to buy 8 T-shirts or buy 6 Funko Pops. I just want to get this one game and leave. And you hassling me to buy Game Informer or to sign up for some stupid membership. It's like, leave me alone.
And I still hate that. I still hate that they charge you like $5 more for the physical version of Game Informer, and then you have to like physically switch it on. And I forget that I'm a pro subscriber, and because I'm already like halfway through it, I just like, you know what? What ends up happening is that I get the email and I forget about it, and I never read the freaking that month's Game Informer because I didn't realize that it was there. When I get it in the mail, I know it's there. I can keep looking at it and I can read it, and it kind of sucks. That that's the way it is. Like I don't know. I'm just not someone that. There are a lot of people that are cool with having their Kindle and they want to read books like that. I just can't. I have to have the physical book. It doesn't work for me to read with that. So
that's it for the kind of the big points in the document thing. I mean, there's a few other choice emails and stuff, but nothing like too.
Yeah, and Scott also mentions the awesome Game Informer covers as well that you don't get when they're digital like that. He does mention the electronic stores are kind of just doing that. That's going to happen. All the electronic stores are going to go that route. The only big thing is that basically almost all the Bethesda games that you thought were going to be coming are coming. The Fallout New Vegas remake or
just Fallout 3, not New Vegas.
Fallout 3. Well, the New Vegas one is still kind of like, I guess, a pie in the sky kind of thing right now. the Oblivion remaster.
That's more surprising to me because like who wants that?
Well, some people probably do just to get something Elder Scrolls out there.
Believe me, people want Morrowind way more.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's because Oblivion's easier to do than Morrowind, right? The Elder Scrolls Sticks is like far off, but originally it was supposed to. When they were originally conceiving it, it was going to come out in 2024, which obviously is not going to happen now.
Right.
And there was some other games in there.
The two that were kind of surprising were Dishonored 3 and Ghostwire Tokyo 2. Because it's
Ghostwire Tokyo 2 for me, yeah.
I thought both those games, like Dishonored 2 and Ghostwire Tokyo, weren't huge successes.
No, they weren't. They even had that DLC, that standalone DLC, and then I feel like they just want to do it just to say that they did Dishonored 3, that there's a third Dishonored.
Yeah.
You know.
I'd be happy with a Deathloop 2.
Yeah, I feel like that's happening. Like they just haven't announced it, but I feel like that's happening for sure. Like that's sold well and got critical acclaim and everything. So Scott actually says that he wants to hear more about the Oblivion remaster. So apparently he is one of those that wants that.
All 2 environments in the Oblivion games, outside in the Oblivion gates, and that's it.
and like I said, and like he said, Morrowind would require a full-on remake because it was on the original Xbox. So yeah,
but it's also a better game. So I'm cool with that.
I think a lot of people would agree with you on that. There's a lot of people that would say that Morrowind was a better game.
Like take whatever Skyrim engine you have going on and just plunk Morrowind into it and release it.
But all right, I mean, there's a lot there in that Xbox leak. We'll see how much of it actually comes true whenever they do release it. Yeah, go ahead.
The last funny thing was they're talking about Game Pass stuff, like calling Baldur's Gate a second-rate Stadia RPG, but then being super pumped about Suicide Squad. It's like, wow, you guys.
No, but really then they also wanted to spend $5 million to try to get it on, or was it? $5 million, right?
Yeah, that ain't a ton. Like that's nothing.
Yeah. They were trying at one point. They were going to spend $300 million to get Jedi Survivor.
Yeah, it's like they wanted to spend 10 to 15 million on like the new Flat Out game. It's like, what? Are you guys high? Like,
yeah.
But them being like super pumped about Suicide Squad is like the most hilarious thing to me. So,
well, you know why though? Because it's multiplayer. So you get more people. Multiplayer will automatically get more users.
So is Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, but I mean, but a lot of people may not know that. Whereas immediately with Suicide Squad, you know it's multiplayer. Just like they're making a big deal about Gotham Knights when we know it wasn't that good of a game, and they're trying to hype it up to come out on October 3rd on Game Pass, and it's probably going to get them more players for sure. But I don't think people are going to have rose-colored glasses for that game,
right?
You know. And Scott also brings up he found it hilarious that they put Gotham Knights as their number one must-have game. It'll be the most successful game of 2022. Yeah, about that.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's a funny document just to read because it's like their value, like the way they value stuff is just really off, you know?
Right. And again, like I understand the whole point of valuing a multiplayer game because you get more users, you get more engagement immediately. More people you have playing that maybe don't have Game Pass to decide, oh, I'm going to keep this thing afterwards. But then because, you know, the thing with single player games is if you're going for that one single player game outside of Starfield, which you can do over and over, you play it and then you unsubscribe because you played the game. So, yeah, I can kind of understand in that way. But yeah, they vastly underestimated how good those games were going to be.
Right.
So let's get on with a few things here that don't have to do with the state of play and direct, just because a few of them were updates from things we talked about last week. And then one of them, which I guess we'll go into now, is the Supergiant announcing sort of a delay for Hades 2 early access.
Yeah.
We don't have like anything except like other than we don't have anything with an exact date, pricing, system requirements, something like that. They are going to perhaps do some kind of very, very, very limited, like special access kind of thing for people outside of the early access. Then they're going to keep updating the early access with more story stuff as it goes on. But they're supposedly looking to release it in the second quarter of 2024. And thank God they are, because there's enough games right now. We don't need Hades 2.
I'm sure I'm sure Hades 2 is playable, but I'm sure they don't want to show it off quite early, right? Unlike, because like Hades 1 came out like pretty early. So did like
yes. But then it got to the point where, like, a lot of people don't do early access. And also just a lot of people don't play. They play when it gets to console. So there was out there so long that people kind of forgot that it was early access. And then when it came out, it was a huge surprise. But I think just putting it out there now. Yeah.
I mean, Baldur's Gate 3 kind of did the same thing. So.
Right. But I feel like Baldur's Gate 3 kind of hyped itself as it went along when it knew it was going to start releasing on the consoles. And if you release a game that actually has name value now, where like people are kind of looking for that Hades 2, you say there's early access and you release it in a year where there's so many freaking games, I feel like it's going to get lost a little bit, and it deserves to have its own time.
Yep.
So that being said, hopefully Hades 2 is as great a game as the first one. It does look like it's going to be, so that's good. Unity has continued to kind of mess around with what their whole deal is. They are again backtracking. They are not fully backtracking. They are now doing some kind of thing where they're working with their partners and talking to them about what they would be willing to do. And I feel like eventually they're just going to backtrack the whole thing, because I don't know how anybody would just agree to that.
They're backtracking for the 3 partners they have left.
Like, there are a lot of people that have, in the time since we've done the show, that just said, oh, we're not using Unity ever again. We're going to Godot or Unreal. Like, they're paying people to port things over there. Megacrit, who makes Slay of Spire, said that if they don't go back on this, they are going to just get away from Unity completely. Like, how many of these big people can you lose before it becomes worse for you to implement this idea than just going back to what you had?
Right.
So supposedly these are the things that they have going on now, but obviously this could change again within the next week. They're limiting fees to 4% of a game's revenue over $1 million. Installations counted toward reaching the threshold will no longer be retroactive, which that should have never been the case from the beginning. Because if you're retroactivating that, that's ridiculous. Because think about like Pokemon Go that runs Unity, right? Think about all these big games that are on Unity that would now be paying these ridiculous fees. Like Genshin
Impact.
Like Genshin, exactly. That's what they're looking at. They're looking at Pokemon Go and Genshin Impact and going, how can we get into that? And you know how big Genshin Impact and Pokemon Go are? You know how little they would have to pay people? Well, probably not little have to pay. It's like how much of a not big deal it would be for them to be like, oh, you know what? We're just going to switch developers. And the ones that end up losing out are you, because people are going to find a way to find Pokemon Go and Genshin Impact. Okay? So you want to lose all these big players, keep messing around. And you're going to find out quickly, John Riccatello, who is the one that responded to this, saying that there was no way that it doesn't matter how we announce it, this was always going to go down wrong. And this is a transformational change to our business. So of course people are going to get upset.
Yeah, it's transforming from a somewhat successful engine company to a failed engine company. So
it's like this is why nobody else is jumping the gate to do something like this. Why? Because this is predatory.
I mean,
do you want games to get made or not? Like,
Unity has like lost money. I mean, or I think they're not in the red necessarily, but it's like they're not successful as they once were.
Right. So
probably because like there are problems with Unity's engine that they never really addressed, or they stuff like that.
Well, and then also they are doing this, like, this subscription model is the way that they make money. So
here's a good analogy. I think I heard some other people talk about this, but like about the download fee thing, paying to download. It's like it's not like you use Unity's bandwidth to install the game. Like you're
right.
downloading from Steam or from Google Play or Google Store or whatever. It's not like you have to download anything directly from Unity in the first place. It's like, could you imagine if Steam tried this, or like the Epic Game Store? It's like, oh, every time you install a game, you have to, the developer has to pay us 20 cents. It's like, yeah,
nobody would be on the Epic Game Store.
Yeah, it's like within a week that thing would shut the fuck down.
Yeah. Like, the problem is that there's developers that can't do anything because their game's already so far that they cannot go back and move it. But it's like, this should be alarming to people, and that's what's stupid is people inside Unity told John Riccatello and whoever else, like, this is
Marc Whitten,
not going to go down well.
Yeah.
Don't do this right now. And we're going to do it anyway because we don't care, because we need to make money. And I get it. Everybody needs to make money. You need to make some of that money back that you're losing, but this is not the way. And it's going to cost. Like, that's the thing. That's the thing that's so stupid is, like, that there are game dev classes that teach people how to use Unity. There are like schools like Full Sail that a lot of their stuff is built on you're going over there to get a gaming degree and you're learning Unity. And then now it's like, oh crap, what we got to like not teach people how to use Unity because Unity may not even be around. So this is it's not great. And as Scott says, Unity is trying to speedrun, ruining their own game engine. I agree. Yes, they are. This will probably change again.
I mean, it was also telling that like Riccatello and some other executives sold a bunch of stock right before they announced this news.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, we know this is going to go down bad, so we might as well just get ready, I guess. So I guess the last thing, really quick before we get into the state of play and direct stuff, because this is kind of from last week as well. We talked about the Square-Enix losing stock value, and they were sort of trying to attribute it to Final Fantasy 16, but it was more because it was like their whole year. And if I kind of said something to the effect that like Final Fantasy 16 didn't sell well, it did sell well. It did sell well it just wasn't as high as that they were expecting, which Square Enix always has ridiculous expectations. But it sold well for being a Final Fantasy game and for being new and being different than what you were seeing with Final Fantasy normally. But what they were kind of alluding to this week is that they, with the new president that they have now, he wants to basically take some of their games that are not fully AAA yet, or not, I guess, as big brand names, and he wants to elevate their status. And that he wants to be able to do that because they need to improve their profitability so that they can not have to suffer so much when some of their AAA games don't do well or as well as they're expecting. This is why they want to kind of go in the direction also of improving their merchandising and their amusement places and all that other stuff, So are there any IPs that you can think of right now that Square Enix has under their umbrella that are not? Yeah, go ahead.
You mean like Parasite Eve or Vagrant Story?
Well, but I mean, do you think those are AAA worthy? Do you think that those are?
Parasite Eve is. I'm not sure about Vagrant Story. I think like Vagrant Story actually could be like a good Dark Souls like game, but Parasite Eve absolutely. But they don't care.
I'm just very surprised with Parasite Eve because like you see what Capcom's doing Resident Evil, and they're basically revolutionizing, making people want survival horror games again.
I mean, at this point,
And, yeah,
Square should just, hire Capcom to make the Parasite Eve remake and be like, you guys do it. Pay us 20% when you're done.
would Capcom agree to that though?
Maybe. Who know? I mean, who knows? Like, they don't got too many more Resident Evils to crank out, so.
Oh, they will find Resident Evils to crank out. If they got to crank out like every single one ever made, they will
Resident
do it.
Evil 0 HD. They're like, great. Playing this fucking train for a few hours. But I mean, I would say, yeah, Parasite Eve is obviously the big one. Bushido Blade, maybe, or maybe not AAA, but it might be like a fun.
I mean, I would say that like Octopath perhaps isn't a bigger. Should be elevated. Yeah.
To what though? It's not, I mean, how much more can you do with that thing? Because it's limited by its aesthetic.
Well, but that's the thing. Like maybe I don't know if could you do that on a AAA level? Is what I'm saying. Like
I honestly don't think so.
I mean, that's part of the obviously the graphics is part of the charm, but could they do a game like that on a AAA level with everybody having their own stories and that kind of thing? Maybe they could. They definitely could. It's something that has a name. It has an audience. They've tried that with some of their other games, and it doesn't quite work out. Like they try to bring back stuff like Front Mission remasters or remakes. Those,
yeah,
those are not.
I mean, yeah, I remember Fear Effect Sedna.
Yes. Like right now, what they have is Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Kingdom Hearts, and I feel like there's one other one that I'm missing, but or Nier, I guess, is your other one.
Yeah, right? But they ain't gonna make another Nier game for by a long ass while.
Well, now he's doing that. Well, they had the mobile game.
Yeah.
Right, and
which means nothing.
that other game that the Yoko Tower is making, the mobile game with all the Sega stuff is like female characters or whatever as well. I could see the Navy bringing back Drakengard to try to do something.
I mean, that's kind of hard to Nier, though.
Yeah, it is, but
you know what they're going to bring back? Like I said, Fighting Force.
Oh, you think? It's like that's the thing. Is like they've tried to bring back a lot of their major at least under the Enix banner, right? The Star Oceans and Valkyrie Profile. Yeah. They've tried to see. Oh my God, Saga gets games all the time, and now Saga just got a new game. So that's what they're trying to do with Saga now. Is we released all the old games, so now let's have a new game and see what happens. I don't like that's the thing for me is you may have to just make new franchises, right? Like
I think that's almost a bad idea as well, because like they have made new franchises, like you just said, Octopath or
Bravely Default.
Yeah, and it's like those sell kind of, but not to what they want, or not what they expect. I think I think if they did like a legitimate Parasite Eve, AAA remake, that would sell. But it's the same problem as like Final Fantasy VII remake. Like there'd have to be a lot of initial cost that they'd have to do first, and they can't. Unlike that game, they can't part out Parasite Eve to like, oh, we're gonna make 3 games out of this engine.
Yeah, like I just want to see what they think, or they were trying with this Foam Stars thing as well to see if they can get something going that isn't.
I fully expect that thing to be dead within 3 months.
We'll see. I think it's actually going to do decently. I'm kind of excited for this beta to play it because it's not an exact copy of Splatoon. There's some stuff in there that's a little bit different. So I'm kind of interested to see what.
Time for the HD remake of Evo, The Search for Eden.
Yeah, but I mean, it is interesting to see like what they've come out with in this year, right? Ish. If we're gonna go back to last December, right? It's Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, then you get Forspoken in there. Theater Rhythm, also Final Fantasy, right? Octopath Traveler 2. You get that cool like visual novel-ish game, The Paranormal Site, which is actually really good that I need to probably go play when it ever goes on a sale. Final Fantasy 16, Dragon Quest, again, that Infinity Strash game that comes out like next week. Star Ocean Second Story R, which you talk about the demo. That's the only one that's not those three. Then Dragon Quest again, Final Fantasy VII, and then we're getting into 2024, the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then Saga's the only thing that's not one of those. Yeah. So like they really have had to rely on the big three for the most part. And I kind of get it. Like they really do need to elevate some of those ones. It's just maybe make people again, to me, it's like you didn't help Valkyrie Profile or Star Ocean when you're releasing it in the middle of a bunch of other crap.
Right.
Make people feel like those games matter. Make them events. Yes, you did a great job of giving us trailers and you gave us a demo for every single one of those games and all that stuff, but it still felt very mid. Like the way they treated it felt like, well, these fans of these games are gonna care about it, so there. And that's it. And it sucks that that's the way those are treated. And then it's hard when you tell people that this is kind of like a mid-tier game and then you try to elevate it after that. It's hard to do. So they definitely are going to have to change their marketing strategy, which is the number one thing that hurts them. If Sony is not marketing the game, they are terrible at marketing, or Nintendo. Like, do better on your end of marketing the game. And maybe perhaps more people will be interested. It's just there's a lot of games. There's a lot of games between this year and next year. Like
that's all hard. It's easier just to care about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
yes. We I mean it's definitely a lot easier to care about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's as well. So let's talk about this direct and state of play. I guess since we're already on the Final Fantasy topic. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth did have its trailer, and it was awesome. And we got info from the PlayStation blog with an interview of where it's going to end, which is going to end in the Forgotten Capital, where a certain event takes place. So we're not going to talk about it because
it's hard to spoil a game that's over 25 years old.
But then they're redoing it and they want you to experience it again like new. So it's like it's not supposed to like talk about it so freely.
I'll just use a game trick to hack her back in. It's no problem.
Well, I mean that's the thing is I wonder if that event is still going to happen or not. We'll see.
No, let's cast use a Phoenix down. It'll be fine.
So what did you think about this trailer?
Looks fine. I mean, I'm kind of surprised that all the characters are in it, or I'm not sure about Vincent if he'll be playable at the moment because they didn't actually show any of his gameplay. But everyone else, they actually didn't show Sid, did they?
No, Sid was not shown at all.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they also mentioned that that it's very possible that it's Vincent may not be playable.
That's what I meant. Yeah, I think it'll be playable, just not in this one. Or they may have it'll probably be like another DLC thing like they did with Yuffie. But yeah, it looks good. Golden Toss looked pretty interesting. Chocobo racing looks funny.
Yeah, I love that they brought all the mini games back and stuff.
I mean, they kind of had to, like people would be outraged if they didn't. So
yeah, but the fact that they got them all in there, and then there's apparently more. Also, some that weren't even in the original. Like they even redid the Cloud joining the parade thing, and he's like the leader now. He's not just trying to fit in there. Yeah. All the double tech stuff looks awesome, and apparently it has its own meter as well, which that's good because that way you're not just having to take up the attacks to do it.
Right.
What do you think about all they made the double timeline thing very obvious?
Yeah,
here.
the Zach and Cloud stuff actually looked more interesting because it's like this is the new shit. This isn't
right. Yeah, like how they're gonna combine those two as Sephiroth alludes to at the end of the trailer that the reunion is happening and the worlds are merging or whatever.
Yeah.
What do you think? I feel like what it is that it's Sephiroth is like this is the Advent Children Sephiroth, and he's trying to like remake the whole. That was the whole point of remake, is that he's trying to redo the story of Final Fantasy VII so that he wins in the end. That's kind of what I'm getting, and that this is why things are merging, because you have those whispers were trying to keep the original tale together, but he's breaking
the Nazguls.
Yeah, or the Harry Potter equivalent?
Yeah, the Dementors.
Dementors, yes. Yeah. I just love the fact that like the Golden Saucer looked awesome, and so there it's gonna be some really fun stuff. 100 hours in this game, like
so it's approaching Persona 5 levels.
Yeah, there's definitely gonna be a lot of stuff. I did think that like it's gonna be 30-40 hours of this main story, and then the rest of it's gonna be like side quests.
The battle arena will take up 50 hours.
Do you think this is gonna be like 16, like open zone, or you think it's gonna actually be open world? Because
it'll be open
don't really
zone.
mention it. Okay.
Or I'm sure you can travel between areas, but it's not going to be like some big ass open world because they can't do that really, because the areas between like Junon and other towns is like vast, and it's supposed to be vast in the game. So
exactly, and like looking at if you just want to look at like RPGdom of this year, of next year, right? You have, what is it with one of the games we just talked about releasing on the 26th. Then you have Reload. We haven't even talked about the one from today, but you have Yakuza Infinite Wealth is going to come out on January 26th. You have Reload, Persona 3 Reload. You have that game you love that you're excited about, the oh my god.
Suikoden?
No, not Suikoden. The one that you've been waiting forever. You have it pre-ordered, and it's been
Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
That one. Yeah. It's coming out on the 1st, and then you have this game coming out on February 29th. Like, at least there's a big gap there, but God, it's like a lot of games there.
You forgot Persona 3.
Yeah, Persona 3 Reload. There's a lot. There's a lot coming in there. So definitely, that made the state of play, obviously. There was a really cool Spider-Man trailer in there. Also, that Baby Steps game looks hilarious. I don't know that I'm gonna want to go pick it up.
The Ben Foddy game or whatever his name is. Yeah.
Yes.
The one thing that was surprising to me, two things, I guess. Helldivers 2 looked kind of interesting because it's not that top-down game anymore. Like it looks like Returnal or
they made it more like a
traditional game.
I guess like Destiny or
third-person action. But the one thing that did surprise me was that Tales of Arise expansion.
Yeah, 2 years after the fact.
Yeah.
Right?
That is too late. Unless
I worry about that.
unless the game opens and it's like, okay, here's how we're gonna teach you how to play this game again.
I feel like
It's
they have to give you a story recap.
not even just
And they
story. I
have
just
to,
mean like
yeah,
controls or like
yeah.
mechanics of gameplay. Because it's not like I don't think anyone's playing that game anymore. They should be.
Oh,
But I
I
mean, I forgot.
definitely do. I definitely do think they're going to do it because they have the new character.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
which that looks interesting.
I'll probably get that or try to. But yeah, everything looks fine. I mean, I still don't give a fuck about Foam Stars personally, but
yeah, I'll definitely try out the beta.
That
for sure.
Ghostbusters thing looks bad.
Wasn't that already out on Oculus?
Yeah, I think it's already kind of been out on whatever, but still looks bad.
Yes.
And it's funny to see what Greg Miller orgasming over anything Ghostbusters. It's like most Ghostbusters stuff is terrible. Don't you get this?
Well, but he liked it though. I think he liked it when it was on Oculus. So
yeah.
The Avatar game looks fine, just the way it's always looked.
Looks like an Avatar game.
Ghost Runner 2 is going to get a demo, so there's that. Those PS5 plates are kind of blah, did nothing for me. Yeah, and the fact that Tales of Rise game's coming out this year, for God's sakes. God, we don't need more stuff coming out this year.
Yeah. The PS5 plates, this is boring as shit. It's like, do some interesting colors or designs, or I mean, they should honestly just do what Xbox does and have like custom, or have that like paint program for custom controllers. Like, yeah, if you want to have, if you want to have some smiley face in your PS5, it's like, okay, give us $100 and we'll print it out.
Yeah, see, because I forgot to mention that, but they're going to add the actual console to the design lab pretty soon. And PS5 is stuck on doing these plates that a lot of them look so just bland.
I mean, the Spider-Man one looks good. But that's about it.
Yeah, the Spider-Man looks cool. Yeah. Way better than that Final Fantasy 16 one. It looks so blah as well. So, yeah, if you are interested in this Foam Stars at all, next week, September 29th to October 1st, there's a demo or a beta. I'm sorry, open beta for everybody. And also, Honkai Star Rail is releasing them for PC on October 11th. I thought it was going to be on PS5 on October 11th. Why are you going to show? That's got to be PC and PS5. Because why the hell would you show it at a PS5 event if it's not going to be on PS5?
Right.
But yeah. So that being said, that was the state of play. It wasn't very long, but like I said, the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer immediately elevated it. I also liked Sean Benson narrating as well. That was.
I wasn't a huge fan of her, but having someone actually narrating it was good. Or like I just said, they just need a better pitch person, like both. I mean, kind of all three of them, really. But
yeah, I mean, look, like she's not super exciting person,
right?
Like,
she's like a businesswoman, or she does whatever. So, I mean,
I feel it feels more genuine than like Jim Ryan doing it, or.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, so
like I said, they just need to bring Kevin Butler back. Everything will be fine.
We'll see. So moving on to the Nintendo Direct, really quick here. We are going to talk about the Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth trailers as well that hit this morning, or I guess yesterday, really late. I don't remember how that works. But yes, so the highlights here are that there's a Paper Mario 1000-Year Door remaster coming. That did not get the love that the Super Mario RPG game got.
People have nostalgia for Mario RPG, and they looked at.
But this is the best Paper Mario, so.
But that's still even yeah, okay, sure, but it's still a pale imitation of Mario RPG. So.
Yeah, I mean, you do see where they changed some of the Mario art because they do show a little bit of Mario RPG stuff in here, and you do see where they
explain that team up attack thing, which I saw even in that first trailer. So,
well, but they also showed go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say they also showed you can face all bosses again, which is kind of cool.
Yes,
but everything else looked pretty much the same, or. For good and for bad.
It's more about the graphics. And...
Yeah. some of that, like those early game systems were kind of janky. So I hope they fix some of that, but I doubt it.
Yeah, they went real Mario heavy here again. You can definitely tell this is the ending of the console because they're just
Yeah.
kind of throwing stuff at the wall at this point. Not that, like, I think the Princess Peach game looks a lot better than it did when they first showed it. Now it's like she has all these different outfits and they all do different things, and it looks like a really fun game. And I'm kind of excited for that to come out when it does on March 22nd. Now I kind of hand waved it at first. It looked decent, but now after we see it, now it looks better. I don't know anything. I don't know how to feel about this Mario vs. Donkey Kong remaster or remake or whatever.
It looked like there was a Japanese game for the Super Nintendo called Mario and Wario, and it looked weirdly like that. Like it's like a puzzle game. It's not like a platformer, but like in that game, Mario has like a pot stuck in his head, and you have to like guide Mario, like because he's blind. He just like walks on his own. So you have to like guide him through these like levels. I mean, it's not the same. It's not exactly the same, but it reminded me of that. And I'm like, that looks all right. That's a throwback.
Right.
But
They F-Zero got the 99 treatment, which is I still need to play that. That looks cool.
Yeah, people are excited for it, and it looks okay. I mean, I've seen just people playing it. It's like, all right. I mean, I'm not gonna make a new one, so this is the best.
Yeah, they are going to release new tracks, or I guess new old tracks, and they are going to release new modes for that thing. So it doesn't seem like it's going to be something that's going to go away really fast.
Yeah, I mean, they may put out like a physical version of it, like they did Tetris 99.
That would be cool. I don't think
they ever added in like new modes to that Mario 35 thing. That was
they did not.
Here you go. So if they want to support this longer and then have it come out physically, like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I think this is kind of like your chance because the other things that they've done in 99 or 35 or whatever on is stuff that it's Mario, like
and Pac-Man though.
Or okay, it's Pac-Man, it's Mario, it's Tetris. Those are like evergreen, always going to be there. They're always going to make games for them, whether they're collections or they're new games. Whereas F-Zero 99, this is your opportunity. Like if you're an F-Zero fan, like I am, I need to get on playing that. This is your chance to show. We'll do another one of these. Please do another one of these.
They should do Zelda 99, where it's like, okay, you gotta get through Ocarina of Time as fast as possible.
Right. Also, there's a Nintendo Museum. But it's in Japan. I don't know if they're gonna do one of these where they like maybe bring one to the United States and put it with another museum or something like that.
I imagine if they did, it'd be in Seattle.
Probably, yeah. So, but cool. This is cool that there's a Nintendo Museum. It's gonna be completed in March 2024. So, yeah. If you ever wanted to have one place where you can check out all of Nintendo's history, there it is.
See the ill-fated Virtual Boy in person.
Right. So there's a lot of other stuff in here that they announced. Splatoon 3's DLC.
Yeah. Like, did anything like big jump out at you?
I'm still excited for that Prince of Persia. Yeah, that Prince of Persia game. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
Yes. The whatchamacallit, I can't think of it right now. Oh, Unicorn Overlord. Looks really interesting. It's the new Vanillaware game.
Yeah, that's the one thing Jens has cared about.
Yeah. They took off the Dark Moon subtitle and made it Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which that's probably what it should have been from the beginning. So that's interesting as well. Devil May Cry Chronicles 3 getting Amiibo. I'm really thinking about it. I don't know. And then Sora getting an Amiibo. Amazing. That's going to be the last one. So And then of course Eastward getting a DLC. I'm happy about it. I love that game, even though this is like not that game really. It's more like a farming sim of Eastward, but if I get to be those two characters again, I'm happy.
That Aiden Chronicle game actually got like a firm release date finally.
Yes, that's going to be on Game Pass too, so I'm excited for that too. Dave the Diver is coming to Switch, so
yeah. The two things that kind of surprised me were that Tomb Raider game, or Tomb Raider, 1, 2, and 3.
That looked okay.
That looked bad, and that's because those early Tomb Raider games are also bad. So
yes,
people have
they redid Laura, and then everything else was kind of like, okay, this is
still assy looking, but like, I have a distinct hatred for those early games because it's like they're terrible. Like, I mean, people just liked them back then because it was like, oh, Laura's hot, and it's like, okay, but I don't care,
It's like I heard someone say they actually made Laura look at the cover art now, but then everything else is kind of like, all right, we kind of touched it up a little bit because if you, high res something looked bad a lot, it's gonna look bad again.
Yeah.
So they kind of have to blend it in.
And I actually thought the one game that actually interested me the most, because I didn't play it on DS or I didn't even know about it, was that Another Code recollection thing. That was pretty cool.
I'll be interested I'll have to watch the trailer again to kind of see more about it. But yeah, that was very interesting. It's like one of those that like, okay, I didn't really know much about it, but now I'm kind of more interested. So
yeah,
it's a really good. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say both those games. I think the first game came out on DS and the second one came out like 3DS.
Yes.
But yeah, look cool.
That's one of those things that like it's nice that you can put that on the Switch and give that to people that are fans of it.
I'm sure you'll be happy. You're very happy with Detective Pikachu too, also.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of like Pokemon out right now. Like, that new DLC just hit, and I've heard that it doesn't really improve the performance of the game at all. It's more Pokemon, and I didn't really gravitate towards this Pokemon that much, so we'll see. But yeah, I really would still love for them to like get some time off and like really make something different, but that's probably not going to happen with what they all the things that they have to do. I thought this was actually a pretty good Nintendo Direct. So there was a lot in here. Two League of Legends games also. Should have mentioned they are really going for that. Like we're making League of Legends into other game genres thing. That Song of Nunu one was really cute as well. But and they also revealed new stuff for Mario Kart 8. Which Diddy Kong finally, and Pauline's in there. So, and they pretty much let you know already that Mario Kart Tour is going to stop getting supported. So, if you were a big Mario Kart Tour person, get on this DLC because that's pretty much the only Mario Kart stuff you're going to get.
Yeah,
for a while. But yeah, I thought both the side of playing and Nintendo Direct were pretty good. Lots of stuff to go on. Now, hopefully the next time we hear from Nintendo, they are announcing the new console. Because I think that's the only thing that's left, really. We know that you're at the end of the rope at this point. There may be a while where,
they still got Metroid 2 HD to announce. So.
Well, yeah, but you could literally just announce those on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I don't know how HD they're going to be because I've started it as much as they remastered the first one. But they could also just announce those like after they've already in the waiting period between the new console and this one. Because for a while there's going to be stuff that's on Switch 1 as well. So because it really looks like this is going to be backwards compatible as much as they were trying to be coy about it and everything else. That Switch 2 is going to be backwards compatible. So
I mean, it better be.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I agree. It better be. I'm going to have a problem if they're not. And hopefully the saves carry over and all that stuff. We don't have to deal with issues with that.
That'll be fucked up, but the game should be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, remember that they made you pay. You have to be Switch Online to do the COD save thing with
Right.
them. So, but think whether Switch Online's cheap, even though they may raise the price down that they have the new console. But, we'll see how that goes. So, I guess to talk about it, so released this morning, yesterday late at night, whatever you want to say where it's from. They released 15 minutes worth of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth stuff. One of them is a very long 10-minute story trailer, and the other is a 5-minute gameplay trailer.
Yeah.
Looks like they actually changed the turn base a little bit. They made it more turn base.
No,
it doesn't look like the other characters are moving around that much.
No, what they changed is you can move. They literally said you can move the characters around in battle or during your turn.
But they're not. It doesn't look like the enemy characters are like moving this time. It looks like they're static.
Yeah, I hope not, because that was like one of the actual problems of that first game's fight system was you'd want to attack like someone far away and he's close to someone else, and the other enemy could just like knock you out of it. And I was like, what the fuck?
Right. No, that's the thing that bothered me too. Is like I'm trying to hit this guy, and he like blended into the other guy, so now I hit the wrong one, and I'm like, damn it. Right. So, it does look like they don't move. The enemies don't move. It's where you move. You can move your character around on your turn.
And it looks like there's like positioning, like because it was like back attacks. So it's all right. Just get behind the magical crab and attack from the back, and
Scott mentions that it's more like trails where you can move, and then also the enemies can move on their turn as well. They're just not moving when they're not. It's not actually their turn. Some of the jobs looked insane, as you would expect. Like, it looks like so much fun, and then the mini games as well are all in here. They like showed off the all the different like Sega games that are going to be in here, like the actual Sega bass fishing and
everyone's favorite.
That.
Where's the Yakuza collector's edition where I get the bass fishing controller?
Right, they spent a lot of time on whatchamacallit. They spent a lot of time on the karaoke as well.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, we get it. Like, it's karaoke, but yeah,
I mean that's a long running staple, and I think they did that because like one of the previous newer games didn't have that, or had like a very I think it might have been the last Like a Dragon, where people were kind of ticked off because they only had like 4 songs or something like that.
Yeah, they had it inside the bar where you're doing the
where you talk to
link
people.
Connections. And they only really had like 2 songs per person. The party is a lot bigger in this game as well.
Yep.
So I agree with. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the thing that interested me was like the whole story crux of Ichiban trying to find his mom.
Yes, like interesting.
It's like I thought she died. Like,
yeah, I mean that's a typical story thing of you thought she's dead, but she's not, and then apparently it's like the only person that the head guy loved and all this stuff, and then how they get involved Kiryu in it. And Kiryu looks cool as well. Not gonna spoil Kiryu's big reveal, but it's a big reveal.
I mean, you're showing the trailer and that spoils the big reveal.
Well, no, but that's a game. No, not him being there. What he says. I'm not showing the story trailer on purpose because I don't want people accusing us of spoilers. I think showing a gameplay trailer of like what the game's going to be about is not. Like there's a lot in here that it was like I felt like I was 15 minutes and I was like, oh my god, I want this game now. You showed me way too much stuff. So, but definitely I would say if you want to go into this game like blind, do not watch that story trailer because you're gonna get the entire premise of the entire story. Everything. They might even spoil some stuff from like a Dragon Gaiden as well in there. So yeah, if you want to watch, you want to play both those games blind, you might want to not watch that.
You don't want to see Danny Trejo.
Yeah, and then also like it's awesome that the maid job is hilarious. So like there's just so much fun stuff. I forgot that they named the summons Pound Mates, which is they kept that from the last game, which now kind of doesn't have as much like make any sense, but it looks awesome. It's gonna be great. And the fact that it's coming really fast, like a Dragon Gaiden November 9th, and then like almost 2 months later, you're gonna have this game. So yeah, you're gonna get everything pretty quick, which is awesome. So yeah, lots of cool things to look forward to. And the beginning of next year and like the end of this year is gonna be insane. Get ready to open up those wallets, people. Yeah. So the pizza delivery as well, or the
I saw that. It looked just like the trash mini or the collecting cans mini game from the other one.
Yeah, but it had like even more of a crazy taxi feel than the other one.
Yeah.
So
I hope they get some offspring up in there.
So just a few more things. Since I gotta go here really quick. I think some things from last week was like Ubisoft was going through some issues, and now they're closing their London mobile game studio. The one big game that they make is called Hungry Shark. It's actually gone over 1 million users or downloads, but the problem was that they started having their Barcelona mobile game studio work on it. And since they're kind of already familiar with it, they basically decided that why have 2 mobile game studios? We're just going to close this one.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the 54 people that are being affected, this sucks for them.
Yep.
So, sucks that they couldn't give them a position inside Ubisoft somewhere else. Or I don't know, but I guess it goes more with like Ubisoft forced everybody to go back to the office. Now they're closing game studios. Not great. Obviously they're trying to cut costs and things like that, but sucks, man. Speaking of cutting costs, also Immortals Avenum laid off 45% of its staff. That doesn't bode well for how well the game sold, probably.
No, I think that game bombed horrifically.
It got a 70 on Metacritic. That's what it felt like when they kept showing trailers for it, that it was kind of going to be an okay game, not like something that we all need to rush out and buy.
It's funny because I talked to Jens about it, and I was telling him about the game. He didn't even know what I was talking about. Like it didn't.
Right.
Like he never. I don't think he ever heard of it before. And it's like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah, it definitely does track as far as what how many people knew about this game, and that pretty much it's like a magic version of a first-person shooter, and
yeah,
it's kind of fine, nothing out of this world, But again, it sucks for the people that had to lose their jobs. Never want to see that, really. Obviously, you do downsize once you're not making the game anymore.
Right.
But a lot of those layoffs don't really get publicized because they're part of just the churn of the industry. But when it's something like this, usually that means that this was something that had to do more than just that. It had to do with the fact that the game didn't do well, and now they're kind of keep it more of a slimmer group to try to cut costs and just keep working on the game and doing stuff for it. And it just really sucks to see when that happens. So I guess we should just get to the games that are coming out this week. And Party Animals is out right now on Game Pass also, as well as PC. If you want to go play that game's always looked like a heck of a lot of fun. It's the game where you're the animals and you're just like stuffed animal kind of looking things, and you're making hell happen. And it looks great. Astria Six-Sided Oracles is coming out to PC. This Days of Doom game that looks like it's coming to everything. Looks like it's one of those multiplayer. Delios Payday 3 also comes out tomorrow. So if you've been excited for some more Payday, that is out on Game Pass as well. That Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC is out tomorrow as well. Are you going to play that?
Probably not. Mm-hmm.
Probably not.
It's problem of like the same thing as Tales. Like I kind of just forgot how to play, or
Oh, well, yeah. You get to basically play the game again. As
I mean, if the
Ada,
game
right?
came out, if DLC came out like 2 months after the main game, that's one thing. But like 9 months after the main game, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I've played other stuff. Or
I can understand that, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
That whatchamacallit, the Pikmin 1 and 2 come out in a couple of days. EA Sports FC 24, the first one without the FIFA name, comes out in a couple of days as well.
I'm sure that'll be a big hit.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Certainly will. It will be on everybody's sales lists for a while. For sure. That Mineko's Night Market, which I've been waiting on for a while, actually comes out on the 26th. Don't remind me. I don't need more games that I have to go buy. Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty, which apparently is awesome. It has like a 91 Metacritic right now.
Yeah.
Are you going to go and play this?
No, because my Cyberpunk game is screwed up.
What happened?
No, I don't know if I told you, but I did this one mission where you get infected with a virus, and at the end of the mission, it's supposed to fix itself, but my game never did. So, like, whenever I talk to people, like, the HUD is all kind of fucked up.
Oh.
So that's cool.
And so, like, there's nothing you can do? Like,
no. I'm the only one that ever happened to, also. Like, the HUD, when you talk to people, there's like a little portrait that appears, and it's like it looks like the horizontal hole is all, like, screwed up on them, because they keep, like, waving in and out. And it's like, when you do the mission, it's supposed to fix itself, but it never did. And I tried to play the game like 6 months ago, and it still was like that. So I'm like, all right, cool.
That sucks, man.
I mean, it's actually kind of funny because I do have a physical copy of that game, the PS4 one. So I should load it up, duplicate all the expensive items, and then launch into the new game, and then just play it like basically new game plus it, or I'll have 50 million credits. Go hog wild.
Yeah. This El Paso Elsewhere game that's like a neo-noir like shooter that I've also been excited about is coming out this week on the 25th. My God, there's just too much stuff.
You're not excited for the Star Citizen 3.20 alpha?
No, that game could just stop existing, or they could stop stealing people's money.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they're not really. People are just giving them money. The game exists, so it's playable. That Paleo Pines, like Pokemon-ish game, also comes out this week. Looks well. No, it's like a sim game that also has whatever. It looks cool.
Yeah.
And another game that's like coming out this week, that Cyber Citizen game is also coming out this week. Okay, that's enough. There's like a lot of games. Go look it up. What you're into. There is probably something for you. This is a week for games here.
Yeah.
I also should have mentioned that Whateverland game. So that was kind of decent as well. So yeah, that's a lot of games that you can go try to pick whichever one you want. And as Scott says, 2023 is the year gamers go broke. This is how many great games are coming out or have come out already. And wait till there's like sales on the big games when people really have to make those decisions for sure, like around the holidays and all that. So that being said, next week we'll definitely have another show again around this time. Thank you for listening, watching, whichever way you enjoy. Hopefully you like, subscribe, follow, and we'll see you next week, everybody. Bye.
Later.